All right, hello everyone. So this is part 2 of 3. As I said in the first one, I just did this full webinar for a group of amazing high school students, and I thought I would just create a few little mini videos to share some of the highlights with you and open up a conversation for if you wanted some more information. So this is part 2, all about the second part about creating the full picture of our career, where we're going. Reminder, my name is Shannon, and the highlight of my really highlight version of my career journey so far was liking math and science in high school, heading to university for engineering purely by fluke. Someone mentioned that engineering was an option. Then I went to grad school for engineering and public policy, continuing this theme of integrating multiple things into my education. Then I worked in an engineering consulting capacity for a trade association for just over 5 years before I decided to really blend all the things that I love that were part of my vision for my future, into a different career and launching a business all about empowering you to go beyond what you think you should do and choose exactly what you want to do and how to make that happen. So we'll share a screen now. And this is part 2 of 3, so we'll include a link to the first part so you can check that out. And yeah, so in terms of actioning our career vision, so the first part we talked about what we were going towards, the point B, our personal CN towers that we could use to navigate our career choices. And the second part is all about what we're going away from. So as human beings, we're motivated by towards and away from. So like I said in the first video, we talked a lot about that vision, what we were going towards, those things we love to have in our lives. To this one, we're going to talk really briefly around what we're moving away from. And that's really it. Where are we moving away from? What are those frustrations, those problems, those struggles that we've had that we want to solve and ensure no one else has to experience those because we've lived through it and we can share the solution. And then that helps influence how we make decisions moving forward, which will be in video number 3. So bagging groceries, a little ironic in today's society. Not very many groceries on the shelf. However, my 8-year-old self, this was my first dream job. The first thing I wanted to do was to be a grocery bagger. I grew up in a small town where at our local grocery store, I grew up for a few years in a small town. And our local grocery store had a cashier and someone who bagged the groceries, and then if you needed help getting them to your car, they would help you. However, my mom and I, we always carried them ourselves. And so this is one of those things that I got really frustrated because they would only put like 2 or 3 items in the bag sometimes. And I was like, the bag has so much more space. There's so much more space in here. It could hold so much more. Why are we being so inefficient with this process? And then sometimes you get weird things in the bag, like the milk and the eggs, and you're like, that doesn't make any sense in the same bag. Like, the eggs are fragile and the milk is heavy. What is this? And that's why I wanted to be a grocery bagger, because in my 8-year-old self, that was the easiest link, the shortest link between an annoyance and a frustration and a way to solve that. So I could be the best grocery bagger and really pack those groceries efficiently and intelligently by, light things in this bag or, structural pieces at the bottom and lighter things on top. So many different ways to do an efficient packing job of those groceries. And recognizing that when the grandmas and grandpas went into the grocery store, maybe they couldn't carry as much, then you pack their bags a little differently. However, there's much scope for different in the grocery bagging experience. And so this is where from here, one of the things moving forward that I wasn't really aware of until I learned this process for myself was that kind of thing has influenced some of my choices moving forward. So I shared my brief journey career-wise with you, and I think you can see we're talking about efficiencies and processes and productivity. that's very much present in engineering. How can we be efficient? How we can solve these problems? And how can we make it easier for people? How can we make people's lives better? These are really some of those foundational pieces of engineering. And so it's by looking back at some of the other things that I wanted to do in my life, I'm like, oh yeah, like I cared about that at 8 years old. That was a problem I wanted to solve. And that's really that lens we want to take with it, is instead of just focusing on what we want to do moving forward, like start thinking about what are those problems that we want to solve? What are those struggles that we've overcome? What are those frustrations? So for me in my now world, one of the pieces about it for me is I struggled with choosing what degree program I wanted to do. While I was in there, I really doubted, like, was engineering the right path for me? How do I go forward? How did I choose? I didn't know, and there was a lot of struggle there. And so in my now world, that's why things like these short little videos exist, is because I want to be able to provide people with that information and connect you to resources that can help the doubt disappear, and really streamline that for you. So the last thing I wanted to do is just connect you. This is a short video. This is one of the things that was foundational when I was learning this principle. I'm just going to create the screen. I hope you can see this YouTube link. I will play the video. However, it is a just over 3-minute video. And this was part of it. Like, once you know that pain, that why are you moving forward? What's fueling you? What is that away from motivator that's poking you in the back? Like, stop this and let no one else face this. It can really change the impact that you can have moving forward.
This is called How Do I Know? And a lot of times when people hear the phrase, how do I know? The next thing they say is what? How do I know what? But the key really isn't to know what. The key is to know why. Because when you know your why, you have options on what your what can be. For instance, my why is to inspire people to walk in purpose. My what is stand-up comedy. My what is writing books. My what can be going out with some friends to eat. In fact, another what that has moved me towards my why is a web series that we have out now called Break Time. So every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, you should subscribe to the channel. We do a series called Break Time on YouTube. So 3 o'clock, we drop a new episode. One episode in particular, I'm about to show you a clip to. We're in Winston-Salem. So Break Time, this is how it works. I travel the country and stand-up comedy, probably an hour and a half at an event. And in the middle of my show, I'll just sit down and start talking to the audience. And funny just happens. Or I'll meet somebody who's really interesting. So I met this one guy, and he said that he teaches music at a school. How do you teach music? Can you sing? And then I'm just going to show you a clip. Show you. So this is the director. Yes, sir. All right, so let me get a couple bars of like Amazing Grace. The first part. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Wow. That brought the sing. You know what I'm saying? Is if your uncle just got out of jail, you got shot in the back when you was a kid. I'm just saying, let me see the little version real quick. For what I'm talking about, just see if that exists. That's what you got. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
Excellent. So when just as you saw, Michael Jr. even opened up by saying like what he does is so many different things. However, they're all influenced by why, to inspire people to walk in their purpose. And so while he doesn't talk about it, there's going to be a piece of that part of his story was probably a time when he wasn't walking in his purpose, when he was distracted from that or clogged from that in some way. And so now he wants to inspire people to do that. And as we saw with the gentleman singing Amazing Grace, when he just knew what he was doing, he just went and did it. However, when he knew why, what that backstory was, what he'd overcome to get there, there was so much more power and joy and amazingness in that. And you could see that in the impact from the audience. They responded so much more. So especially for those of us who are seeking to make a difference and want to empower other people in some way to overcome their obstacles, by knowing where we've come from and those pain points that we've overcome in our own history and our own story, that's really the magic for moving us forward. So this brings us to the end of this little mini video. The third mini video, we're going to talk about how to really make decisions and strategically decide how to move forward and take advantage of opportunities moving forward. We'll put the link in the description of this one, plus a couple other links to, at least one other link to other resources for you moving forward. Very exciting to share this with you today, and I hope you have a wonderful time, and we'll see you on video number 3.